Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Jason with Art of Creation Homestead. Today we're in the kitchen. The lovely camera lady, Angela Kay, is no longer the lovely camera lady today. She is going to be showing you how to can a little bit of sauce, tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce. She's doing spaghetti sauce, okay? But she's gonna come here. We're gonna show you what to do. Even if you don't get a bunch of jars and you got tomatoes to use, here we're gonna show you how to do it. All right? Let's bring you over here and she's gonna take over.
Okay, what I'm gonna show you here is how to home can your own spaghetti sauce without a packaged mix. No packaged mix. What we're gonna do now, some of the stuff that I'm about to show you that I do, you're gonna think I've lost every last one of my marbles.
She has.
Let me just tell you, my marbles are still completely intact, and you'll see it in the finished product. What I've done, I've taken all of my tomatoes. As you can see, there are a variety of sizes, variety of types of tomato. You don't have to use just one type of tomato. As you can see, I've got all different types. Some of these were humongous. I mean, some of these were over a pound, some of them were a pound. And then we've got cherry tomatoes over here. It doesn't matter what you use.
Not at all. This is a garbage dump tomato thing right here.
That is not an appetizing sound.
Garbage dump spaghetti sauce.
I'm gonna have to cut that out. Okay, we also have a pepper, a green bell pepper on here. You can use red bell peppers, you can use any kind of peppers you like. You don't have to use peppers at all if you don't like peppers in your sauce. Well, I like that little bit of pepper flavor. We also have an onion, and we have about 6 cloves of garlic. You can do more or less cloves of garlic. You can do more or less cloves of garlic depending on how garlicky you like it. We like ours garlicky, so I put more garlic. Now all of these, I've got my oven preheating on broil. All of these are going to go into the oven. You don't want them to blacken. We're not making charred black salsa here. We're making spaghetti sauce. So you just want to blister them just a little bit and get them to pop. Like, get these cherry tomatoes to pop. And they'll look like little flat tires. If you heard that seal, I've also been canning banana peppers, pickled banana peppers. If you haven't seen the video, we will link it. Nice handwork.
Look, we got 3 hands.
Nice handwork, Vanna.
How'd you get 3 hands?
Okay. You just want to blister them a little. You want the skins to crack. And these will look almost like little flat tires. Now, and you will see that the garlic is still in the skins. You want to leave it in the skin. We will take it out of the skin after it's roasted a little bit. You want all of this to roast up. I'll show you after it gets done. Okay, we're back, and I realized that I forgot to tell you. I washed and cored all of the tomatoes, cut them in half, and put them cut side down on the pan. And I just peeled and quartered no, this isn't a tomato, this is an onion. And seeded the peppers and put it cut side down. And as you can see, the little tomatoes look like little flat tires. See? Oh, except for the black cherries. The black cherries kind of tend to stay plump.
Now, when you say cord on the tomatoes, explain that real fast for people who may not understand.
Well, you know, I'll show you from a tomato that isn't fully ripe yet. This is the core. Where your stem is at, that's the core. And it will go, some tomatoes will be a very small core, others will be a deep core. And you will cut around it and cut the core out till you don't see any of this white part inside anymore, till you just see tomato flesh. Okay, now you're gonna, as I've told you, you're gonna think I've lost all my marbles. But here we go. This is what you're gonna do. I'm gonna put 1 onion, 1 piece of the onion in there. You can put as much as you want in there. What I'm telling you here is just a method. Here we have about 7 pounds of tomatoes total. I have 1 medium-sized onion, 6 cloves of garlic, and 1 green bell pepper. Use as many tomatoes as you want, as many onions as you want, as much garlic as you want. This is just teaching you a method. Now here we go. Now we're going to start spooning these tomatoes into the blender. Well, let's do it the easy way. Let's bring the blender over here. Okay, we're going to start spooning these super soft tomatoes into the blender. Just don't fill it too full. See, the thing is, you've got to remember, I know it's a controversy here, but it's just fact. Tomatoes are technically a fruit. What does fruit have? Fruit has pectin. Anybody who's made jam knows this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to split the skin off this garlic. And I'm going to put about 3 of these 6 cloves. Once I take the skin off, see? It's nice, it's starting to get nice and soft. Just throw them in. Anybody who makes jam knows that you have to have pectin in jam to make it get nice and thick. Well, in these seeds and skins of the tomato, because it is technically a fruit, there is pectin. When you run it through a food mill and get out all the seeds and skins and all of that stuff, you're taking away most of the pectin. So you have to cook it down and down and down for hours to get it thick enough. Well, when you do it this way, you are letting all this pectin grind up into the sauce. So you end up with a thicker start, so you don't have to cook it down as long. So now what we're going to do, we're going to grind this up. The more powerful your blender, the quicker this is going to get done. Ours is an El Cheapo, so it's going to take a few minutes. So what you want to do, you want to put it on puree, and you want to puree it up until it's smooth, completely smooth. And we'll just keep doing this in batches and dumping it into our Dutch oven, and I'll show you when we're done. We have pureed all of that tomato product, the peppers, the onions, the garlic. We've pureed it all, and as you can see, you don't see pieces of skin in there. You may see an occasional seed that didn't grind up. If that bothers you, you can strain it out. Personally, 1 or 2 seeds out of all of those tomatoes doesn't bother me. But as you can see, it's already thicker than it would have been if you ran it through a food mill. It's already much thicker. It's already, see, look at that. It's already a much thicker consistency. So it's got to cook down way less than if you run it through a food mill. This will take half the time because of the pectin that you grind into there. It's going to take half the time of running it through a food mill and then letting it cook down for sometimes 4 hours. This is going to take at least half the time, if not cut it significantly. So now we're going to turn on the heat. We're going to turn it on about medium-high. And we're going to let this start to come to a little bit of a bubble. Then I will come back once it starts to cook really good. I will come back and I will put in the salt and all the seasonings.
How often do you need to stir?
You need to stir it often because any tomato product is going to start splattering.
Scraping the bottom when you stir?
You need to run the spoon along the bottom so that it doesn't get stuck to the bottom and doesn't start to burn. It's boiling really good now, as you can see. Cooking really good. So now we're going to season it up. And what we're going to do, we're going to add about a scant half tablespoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan. You can use canning and pickling salt. You can use whatever you want. Now this, you are going to have to taste it occasionally. See if you want more salt in it. See if you want more spices in it. This is going to depend on your taste.
And how many tomatoes you use.
And how many tomatoes you used. Like I said, I'm teaching you a method, not a recipe. So, what we're going to do, we're going to sweeten it up a little bit. Because this is very acidic. So, you can use sugar if you want to. But I'm going a little more natural. Because all of these tomatoes, the peppers, the garlic, the onions, everything was grown here at Art of Creation Homestead. And it was all grown organically. So we're going to go a little more natural. And we're going to put some honey in it. Let that boiling liquid wash that honey out of there. Okay. Now, normally, I would be telling you, I grow a ton of spices out there in the yard. I'm going to use all fresh. You would have to use a ton of fresh to get the flavor. Dried has so much more flavor. You're better off using dried because the fresh is just going to get lost in here. So we're going to add, I'm just doing a rough measurement of what we like. This is about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And rub it between your hands. That releases all the oils and brings those dried spices back to life. So you want to rub it between your hands. That will always bring the flavors back to life. It will release the dried oils a little more. And you will actually even smell it more. Now, I know this has oregano in it, but we love oregano around here. Don't we, cameramen?
Yeah.
Man. There's no man here. There's a man.
Yeah. A new twist on polygamy.
Okay. So now we've got about a teaspoon of oregano. We'll do the same way. Rub it between your palms to release it. There we go. Now where it's boiling really good, we'll scrape down the sides. Scrape down all that pulpiness off the sides. And it's already starting to smell really good. With all that garlic and peppers and onions and everything, it's already starting to smell so good. And as you can see, it's already giving my spoon just a little bit of resistance. Because it's already starting to cook down because of all that pectin. This isn't going to take the 4 hours that this would take if I ran it through a food mill. You will see very soon that I am not crazy. It has reduced down quite a lot. And it's only been right around an hour. Where to get this thick, it would normally take, if you had ran it through a food mill, to get this thick, it would take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. But as you can see, it's already nice and thick. But it's not where I want it yet. We did taste it and we did adjust the seasoning. I added probably about a teaspoon more salt, probably about a teaspoon more oregano, because we do like it with a lot of oregano, and just a pinch more Italian seasoning. But as I've told you, these seasonings are completely up to you. This is your baby. You do it how you like it. I'm just teaching you a method. That's the glory of being able to do it this way without a packet of some sort of seasoning or a packet of some sort to help you do this. You adjust the seasoning the way you like it. If you like more oregano, throw in more oregano. If you like more basil, throw in more basil. If you like tons of garlic, put in more garlic. That's the glory of being able to do it yourself. Now, we're going to add a secret ingredient. If you've watched the salsa video, you know there was a secret ingredient at the end that made it thick and rich. We're adding that same secret ingredient here. It's organic tomato paste. This is a tube. You can also use a can. But it's about the equivalent of one small can. You want to put all of it in there. This is going to make a huge difference in the final product. It takes a little bit to get that all stirred in. But once you get it stirred in, you'll want to let it finish cooking down which it won't take very long at this point. It will take probably another 15 minutes maybe to get nice and thick. And this is going to be a nice thick consistency. And as you can see, it's already beautiful. And this whole kitchen smells amazing. Now this is just a small batch because it was what I had that had came in. In about a week, we are going to get hammered with tomatoes. And then I'm going to make a huge batch of sauce then. Look at this. Now you see I have not lost my marbles.
It's a beautiful sauce. Tastes delicious too, by the way. We've already tasted it. Make sure it's good. That's delicious.
Look how thick that is. As you can see. And this wasn't even, after I added the tomato paste, it was only 10 minutes. So it was around an hour and 10 minutes cook down time.
Ain't bad.
Rather than anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. Huge difference.
Ain't bad.
And it's so thick and rich. Now, we're going to start jarring it up. Now we take our handy dandy mug, and I've told you before about our drip station that my mom always did. You put a pie plate down, let it catch all your drips. That way it's not going all over your countertop. You have one dish to clean instead of a ton of countertops. You put all your stuff in it. And I had a wonderful viewer ask me a question in the pickled pepper video about my lids. I have washed them in hot soapy water. I've put them in a bowl, and I've ladled some boiling water out of my canner over them so that they'll be nice and hot when I put them in on the hot jar. Now I'm going to start putting this in. Look at that consistency. Isn't that to die for? Now you want to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. And headspace is the space between the food product and the top of the jar. But you want to leave a little extra right here because I got to show you something. This is a piece of valuable information here. When you're water bath canning any tomato product, it's got to have enough acidity to be safe to water bath can. You can always pressure can this. And you may not have to do this if you pressure can it. But I prefer to water bath can it. Now what you're going to want to do, this is a pint. We're canning it in pints. If you're canning it in quarts, you're going to have to add more. In a pint of sauce, you're going to add 1 tablespoon of bottled lemon juice. You can also add citric acid, but I don't keep citric acid laying around the house. If you're doing a quart, you want to add 2 tablespoons of bottled lemon juice. You can use fresh, but bottled is more consistent in its acidity level. And that's what this is all about. Now you want to take your handy dandy debubbling tool, use it to stir in that lemon juice a little bit, and also get the bubbles out. Now, we'll measure it, because it's also a measuring device, and see if we're 1/2 inch. We're right there at a 1/2 inch, so we're good. Now we're going to take a damp towel, or a damp paper towel. You want to wipe any food debris from the rim, because you don't want that lid sealing down to the food debris instead of the rim and giving you a false seal. A false seal is when you don't get a real airtight seal, and it will always come back unsealed, and the food product will spoil. So now we've got a hot lid on it. These jars have been washed in the dishwasher and heated on the heated dry to sanitize them. You can also you can also wash it just in the sink and put these in put the jars in boiling water to sanitize them. Now we're going to put our ring, which has also been washed in the dishwasher. We're going to put that down, just finger tight. Don't wrench it down, just finger tight. Now we're going to take our handy dandy jar grabbers. These are the best jar grabbers in the world. And lift it up. Don't slosh it around a lot. This is the Ball electric water bath canner. You can do this in just a plain old water bath canner. We're going to lower this down in. We're going to continue filling our jars. Okay, this is the last jar. Out of this small batch, we got 3 pints, which is wonderful. It testifies to the fact of how much more product you get if you don't run it through a food mill, if you puree it all. So, we've got them in the water bath canner. Now, the Ball electric water bath canner, now a regular water bath canner is not going to have this. The Ball electric water bath canner has this plate. It's to hold the jars in place while they're boiling, while it's processing. You drop the plate down on there. And I usually use my jar grabbers to push it down flat on the tops of the jars.
You don't want to put your hand in there, huh?
No, I don't. I wouldn't, personally. I'm not a daredevil, so.
I'm no doctor, but I'm going to put my hand in boiling water.
Okay, now we put the lid back on. You want to bring it back up to a bubble. When you start seeing the bubbles coming up to the top, then you want to process it at that point, which means boiling it. You want to process it for 35 minutes because these are pints. If you do it in quarts, you want to process for 40 minutes. Then after that, you want to turn it, you want to turn off the heat, take off the lid, let the boil come down, and let it sit for 5 minutes. That way everything gets calmed down. And then you will lift your jars out. It's processed for 35 minutes because I used pints. And it's set with the lid off.
Foggy, sorry.
And it's set with the lid off and the heat off for 5 minutes so that the boil has come down. Now we're going to lift them out. And remember, if you've watched any of my past videos, this will just be a review. But if you haven't, this will be a first time. Lift them straight up. Tip them very little just to knock a little bit of the water off. You'll get rid of the rest of that water later. Now you want to put them down. Lift them straight up. Just tip them just a tiny bit to knock some of the water off. The reason I'm very specific about this is you don't want any of this spaghetti sauce to go under the flat because this is not sealed yet. You don't want any of the spaghetti sauce to go under the flat because then if it does seal, the flat may seal down to the spaghetti sauce that's under the flat, and eventually when everything cools down, that seal is going to give way because it's not an airtight seal. So what you want to do at this point to get that water off there, you want to take a paper towel or a rag and you want to just gently dab. Don't push down, because see this little bulge right there in the middle? You don't want to push down on that because then you have sealed the jar and it has not sealed itself. So you want to gently wipe it away. Don't press hard. Now you want to leave these sit for 18 to 24 hours. Do not move them. Do not juggle them around. Do not touch them.
Can't juggle them?
You can't juggle them.
Oh.
No juggling spaghetti sauce.
Man, took away my plans for the rest of the day.
And look at this beautiful stuff right here. Isn't that the most gorgeous thing you've seen? And everything in here, all of the veggies in here, came from Art of Creation Homestead.
Except for the organic tomato paste.
I said all the veggies.
It's tomato product.
I said the veggies, silly butt. Okay.
Alright, you good?
You need to make this.
Alright, people, yeah. It's great. I gotta be honest with you. There's a little bit left. There's a little bit left inside the pot. And after she jarred it up. And I may or may not have taken some loaf bread and just start sopping it up and eating it like a flipping pig. Because it's delicious. It's wonderful. You want looking for a good spaghetti sauce, pasta sauce, try this one out. All right, if you like this video, just give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. Leave a comment below if you have questions or any positive comments. We don't hear your negative stuff, but if you have positive comments or things, just something, just let us know. Leave us a comment below, and well, we appreciate you guys watching this video. We love you all. God bless you. Goodbye.